The faces were shocked and eyes were still. The words were lost on what happened. His parents' eyes moved toward the door of the room where their son was waiting for his would-to-be husband to come and take him with. But here the situation would change. They were looking at their lower head, who told them about the bitter reality. That piece of letterboard rolling on the ground, in which those words were written, which was stabbing their hearts. All the guests were start to whisper about the groom didn't come. The man, they truly disappeared. Mr. Kemp fell on the chair defeated, as he had lost everything that day because of the marriage didn't come for his son, but their parents come with low head and full of shame, but that the embarrassment and guilt was not going to set everything. Why? Miss Kim's lips were shattered, shocked as their eyes filled up with the tears. He could remember the light of happiness of their son's face because of the marriage. He knew how much he was happy, but why he betrayed them, their trust. We're so sorry and ashamed. Anything we can do? Asked Mrs. John, come forward and place her hand on Miss Kim's shoulder and consoling her. Your son ran away, and you didn't stop him. Is there anything left you can do for us? But really, as Miss Kim said, she knew that it will not affect anyone but his son's life. Mom, I'm sorry if I'm late, but there was. Before Mrs. John could say anything further, her younger son entered the hall, and everyone's eyes moved to him, who was coming forward to his parents in his unique army uniform. Hello everyone. Don't tell me that marriage is done, he asked as he came closer to his mother and hugged her. Jungkook? You? Her mother looked at her younger son, who was standing in front of her. Hello aunt, I'm Kai's younger brother. Actually, I could not come earlier because of my duty. Just got to leave and see I'm jumping in my brother's marriage, he said with a laugh without noticing the tense atmosphere. Jungkook, you don't know anything. Just go to your father, her mother said, and he looked at her tense face of his parents and his brother-in-laws. Silently, he walked toward his father, who was standing with such a guilt and embarrassment which was causing just because of his other son. Please, forgive us, her mother said. He was trying to understand that what happened all of a sudden. Your forgiveness can't bring happiness back to my son's life. Tell me, who will marry a boy now whose groom left him just in his wedding day? Her mother said, and broke down into tears. And Miss John looked down, knowing that she was seeing the truth. Who will accept a boy whose marriage broken in his wedding day? Thanks to his son, cried. Miss John said the word and turned to go. My other son will accept. Miss John stopped as Miss Kim's foot on the ground as she turned, saw her, while Jungkook got too shocked on what his mother said. His bag slipped from his hand and looked at his father, whose eyes shined that word his wife said, and he looked at his son with a hope, while Jungkook was not understanding what was happening. Uma, Appa, what just could not come out of his mouth? Our son Jungkook will marry Taeyoung. Just say yes. This time we will not disappoint you, said Miss John hurriedly without knowing her own son's decision. But Taeyoung, Miss Kim didn't know what to say. She turned to see his husband, who got up with a new life awakened in him. But our Taeyoung is older than your son, said Miss Kim, but somewhere she didn't want to refuse this proposal. Doesn't matter of 5 or 6 years. You just say yes. I'll talk to Jungkook, said Mr. John, while happiness of both Mr. and Mrs. Kim looked at each other and gave a nod as yes to the proposal, while Jungkook walked out of the marriage hall. I'll just be back. Seeing Mr. and Mrs. John walk out of the hall after his son, removing his cap from his head, he walked here in the hall and thinking about the decision his parents took without him. Jungkook, he turned on the voice and looked at his parents who was coming to him. Amma, about all this, how can you do this? You have not even asked me and took the decision. Come on, he's my brother Francis, he said frustratedly, looking at his parents. He was, but your brother ran away to New York after his stupid dreams, leaving that boy behind, and you have to do this for us. You have to accept him as his wife. His mother said, and he looked at her shocked at how he can do this. Uma, he's older than me. 6 years. 6 years, Mom, he said, looking at his mother with a hope once again. It doesn't matter. I know you are capable for him because you're totally different for your brother. I know this time you were not making any mistake. His father took a part in that conversation. For your parents, you have to do this. He's such a nice boy. You'll love him one day, his father said once again, and he let out a breath as he knew he had no other option that accept his parents' will. Only for you guys, saying he stopped inside the hall while Mr. and Mrs. John followed him. Theon hurried up. His mother could see many questions in his eyes. She knew it was the best for his son they could do at the moment. Don't be tense. We are doing what is best for you, her mother said and spread a cord on him. His father, who was the witness, entered the room. Theon was confused and nervous, scared, and what not. His heart was beating with fear, and a deep hurt was inside there because his heart was broken. Silent tear left him, and his head slowly moved into a knot to say yes as an answer to his father, who asked his permission for the wedding, and they got permission all left, and he let out the hiccup except his mouth. Don't cry, Theon. You will be happy. How his heart was feeling on being betrayed by the one he loved, and he left him only for his dream. You're my dream, Theon. His word rang in the air, making him cry even more, and heart start to fill up with the hate for the person who insulted him and his parents in front of all. They was taken out of the room to the car which was waiting for they toward the new journey. Hugging his parent, he made him sit inside the car and close his eyes, letting himself ready toward the unknown journey with that unknown person who was now his husband. The car started moving and he kept dangling his finger. The journey was started now, and there was nothing he could do otherwise compromise. His eyes moved to the voice and stuck on those beautiful finger hands, which was tangled with each other, and he could feel that who was seated beside him as his wife, but there was nothing he could feel inside his heart, not feeling, no emotions, but a hard time it was for him. As the car stopped, he stepped out of the car without waiting for they, but stopped, as his father held his hand and made him stop. You both have to enter together, said his father, and he felt helpless in front of his parents.